Whosoever holds this hammer, be he worthy, will possess the powers of Thor.
Hi guys, welcome to the Money Movie Fan Channel. My name's Tyler. Today's Review the MCU movie is the Kenneth Branagh directed Thor, the first movie.
This movie, I like it. Another.
In my opinion, guys, this movie is really underrated, especially in the grand scheme of the MCU. Kenneth Branagh directed it in a way that feels really Shakespearean, and I know he's known for a lot of those movies. I think he was Iago in Othello, which is one of my favorite Shakespeare stories. He really brought that kind of weight and gravitas to it. It felt Shakespearean. I personally love the lore behind Asgard, Thor, Mjolnir the Hammer, Odin, Loki, the dynamic between them, the Warriors 3, Lady Sif. I like Heimdall, the Bifrost. All of that is really cool. I even like the Frost Giants. I thought their design was really cool, the red eyes. In this movie, they kick some ass, and they're everything that the White Walkers from Game of Thrones should have been, because they're just so cool. One of the first scenes of the movie is Odin in his fight against the Frost Giants in the very beginning of their history. That was one of the coolest parts of this whole movie. Everything on Asgard before Earth is really, really good. Just the world they set up Asgard is beautiful. All the realms, the lore to that is great. When Thor gets banished from Asgard to Earth, it becomes a fish out of water story. And the humor that comes out of that situation is hit or miss a lot of the times. I totally see how people are put off by a lot of the humor that comes out of the Kat Dennings character, out of those situations. To me, it doesn't hold a candle anywhere close to the humor that we get in Ragnarok, the Taika Waititi humor, but I still kind of liked some of it. Like I said, it was hit and miss. I like when Thor's putting on Jane's ex-boyfriend's shirt and he's like, I need sustenance. I use that line all the time. I often need sustenance. I also like when he goes into the pet store and he's like, I need a horse. So the story of this movie is the Frost Giants on Thor's coronation day, where he's going to be made king of Asgard, break into Odin's vault. Thor goes to their homeworld to instigate a fight with them, basically. He shows that he's immature and not ready to lead. Odin banishes him to Earth, throws the hammer down there. Whoever holds the hammer is worthy of the power of Thor. So Thor has to prove himself in this movie throughout to be able to wield the power of the gods that he has. One of the best parts of this movie is Loki discovering that he's part Frost Giant, or at least part Frost Giant. He might be all Frost Giant, I don't remember. I don't think his mother is. And Odin took him to hopefully bridge the gap and mend the relationship between the Asgardians and the Frost Giants in the future, and could bring their kingdoms together. So that was real interesting, him discovering that, and then the scene that followed where he has that monologue. So Odin's given back a little bit, but he just basically goes off. And in that scene, that's one of the best scenes in the MCU at all. Tom Hiddleston is awesome as Loki. I know that goes without saying. All the fans love Tom Hiddleston as Loki, but he's one of my favorite characters, and this scene is the reason why, where he's like, I'm the monster you tell your kids about at night, and why did you take me, and why did you lie to me? And he's so hurt, and the emotion in that scene is really spectacular. He does a great job as the character, and he just gets better and better and better. In this movie, they were kind of going for the heart of it being Jane and Thor, the love relationship. The real relationship is the relationship between Odin and his two sons, Thor and Loki, and their dynamic, and how Thor deals with that. Chris Hemsworth is also great in this movie. He just gets better and better too in the MCU. His performance is definitely mature as the character matures, and he's become one of the best actors in the MCU overall. You see that in Endgame, and after Thor suffers all these losses, Ragnarok, he loses everything, but he really brings the weight to those scenes in future movies. This movie, he has some moments of that, and then there's other times where he's just a little bit wooden, but he comes into his own, and I think Chris Hemsworth gels more with the humorous aspect. That's kind of where he thrived the most in this movie, was when he could come in asking for a horse at a pet store and do ridiculous things, smash the glass on the ground at the restaurant. That was awesome. Those were the funniest parts of this movie. It was some of the MCU humor that we're used to. Coulson is in this movie a little bit. He was teased in the post-credit scene to Iron Man 2 with setting up camp around the hammer, and Thor's got to get back and prove that he's worthy. And they're just kind of guarding it because they know it's extraterrestrial from outer space, and they're just trying to see what's up and who the being that is going to come looking for it is and whether he's good or bad. And they're trying to feel him out, obviously, because they have the Avengers initiative going on. They're a little hesitant to just make enemies and whatever. He might be an asset to them. And they have Hawkeye also make an appearance in this, where he's just there to subdue any hostile person that comes to get the hammer, even though Thor ends up not being bad. Put in with the stress of everything going on, I guess, is in like a hibernative state, so he's like Sleeping Beauty this whole movie. And he had banished Thor, but then Loki kind of takes over. He tells Thor he's dead, and Thor believes it because he is stuck on Earth and he has nobody else's word to go off of. Loki goes to the Frost Giants and conspires for them to sneak into Asgard, and he would help them to kill Odin. That way he could ascend the throne permanently, and it wouldn't look like he just killed his dad, and then he would have to be the ruler after that, and the people would not want to support him. It would be that the Frost Giants came in and took him, and Loki triumphantly drove them out, even though he was just going to give them Odin's body and let them kill Odin for revenge. The story was really cool. Thor fights that giant robot, which if you play the Jedi Fallen Order games, those robots reminded me of the ones from Thor. When I was playing that game, I was like, oh my god, these are like the Thor, like, Cyclops thing that comes to kill him, and the Warrior 3 and Lady Sif, they fight him in the streets of wherever they are, and then Thor ends up getting his powers back. He's got the hammer, and he takes the thing down. I like that fight scene. And then I also like Thor and Loki fighting on the Rainbow Bridge. He does a deceptive thing where he's like a projection, and Thor thinks he's like hanging off the edge, and he's gonna pull him up, and Loki was behind him, and he stabs him. And I like that Thor puts the hammer on him and is like pinning him down on the Rainbow Bridge as he's trying to close the gate so that the Frost Giants couldn't come through. That was really cool too. I always laugh. It makes me think of the meme with Spider-Man. He's really got to pee and he's doing the pee-pee dance, and Mjolnir is on the toilet seat keeping it pinned down, and he can't lift it up. That's always funny. It reminded me of that when I was rewatching. I really like this movie. I do think it's underrated. It's got that Shakespearean relationship between the parents and the kids and the brothers, and what it means to be a family and have different family dynamics at play, and jealousy and royalty and all of that. I love that. I love the Thor lore with the Bifrost, and Heimdall can see everything. That's really great. The relationship with Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth, that chemistry wasn't the best. I don't think that was the strongest written part of this movie. They didn't really gel as much. Interesting, because she's going to be a bigger part of Thor Love and Thunder, and with Taika Waititi at the helm of that one, it's interesting to see what their dynamic will be, and to have her back now that we've seen Thor change so much, drastically, I would say, with everything he's gone through, to see how they'll play off each other, if their chemistry will improve or be different, or if their dynamic will be different. That's kind of exciting to think about. I know that's still a little bit a ways away, and we don't really know exactly what's going on with movie release dates and that for the MCU movies. I think they're waiting to release everything until Black Widow comes out, because we'll probably find out crucial, important things. Obviously, all the movies kind of build off each other in their cinematic universe, so we'll probably have to wait until Black Widow comes out to see some of the shows, and I think everything's just going to get pushed back because of the virus. But I am interested to see how their dynamic changes between Jane and Thor, and if Jane gets the powers like she does in the comics, that'll be even more interesting. Review for Thor, guys. My review of the MCU for this week, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell so you get notifications that alert you when I post a new video, and share it around to your friends so they can come join the fun and hang out with us talking movies. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.